This is Artist Talk on Art. We're a 501(c). We've been around for 45 years, Lower West Side of the city for most of the time. Of course, dealing with not being able to get together because of COVID-19, we've switched to a virtual platform. We do this every Monday. It's an informal sharing of artists' ideas and thoughts and images. We run into technical difficulties. It's never really a problem. Everybody chimes in and helps. It's a very nice group experience. I want to thank Sophia again, our intern, who helps out, who is now hosting this, and you know, has been a big help to the ATOA.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Mitch.
Sophia has grown our Instagram from 100 to over 500 followers. And, you know what kind of work it takes to do that today, and we're very thankful. And I want to thank all of you. Artists Talk on Art. Without artists, it's just talk. So it's artists talking on art. You make it happen. I do want to thank Michael Krasowitz. Michael's been a regular, always presents some great ideas, and there's always been a lot of fun. I think for me, the great thing's been meeting a lot of you. We are for free. This is a no-fee organization. We are a 501(c). If you'd like to contribute, our website's atoanyc.org. You can get the information there, but we're happy to fulfill a service. See a need, fill a need, Rodney Copperpot. I don't know if you saw the movie, but it's worth seeing. And I think we do that here. So I'll sort of jump right in. I only saw one no from Elaine, so Elaine, I won't ask you to show. But let's see, Jean?
Yes, hi.
Hi. Jean, would you like to share to start us off?
Sure.
Jean, where are you calling in from?
I live in Bedminster, New Jersey. So what interested me about this Facebook event is, first of all, that it's an art talk. I love art, and also that it's virtual. So, and also that it's New York City based, because that, to me, that says something about the group. So I've already learned a lot. I took notes. 45 years, that's a long time. What else would you like me to talk about or do? I haven't even seen any shares, so.
So I recommend, tell us about your art a little bit, your process. If you're able to do a screen share, there's a function on the bottom says share screen, and then we'll actually see what's on your computer screen. You could punch up Instagram or Facebook or any files you have with images. We've also had people go manually and hold objects up. So whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
And as well, sort of an audio introduction about yourself. Is certainly a great lead in. And
okay. Thank you for explaining that. I'm going to pass on the screen share because I have to search for my images, and I'll have them ready for next time. But I do have two paintings that I can hold up. So my art has always been watercolor. I've been painting ever since I can remember. And I started in the commercial art field doing book illustrations and magazine illustrations and whatnot. And then I just went to freelance watercolors. Recently, I have fell in love with acrylic pour. I've never even painted on canvas. It's always been watercolor paper. So I'm real excited to learn, and I've never used acrylics. I've always been like a purist watercolorist. So I have two paintings here to show. I don't know if you can see this well.
Yeah.
yes, you just hold it up and give us some time. We could see that perfectly.
Is it fuzzy?
Not at all. Not at all. By the way, if you want to pin her video, there's 3 dots in the little box. I think so. I think you can pin her video if you try. For some reason, I'm not able to, but just the same. Go ahead, Jean.
Okay, so this is on gallery wrap canvas, and it's small, 6 by 6. This is acrylic pour, and how I did this was a transfer. I poured the colors onto one canvas, then I pressed saran wrap into it, smushed it around a little bit. Actually, it was a plastic bag. Lifted it up in a ball, and then it made, I should have brought the other one too, made an image, and that's another painting in itself. And then I took this blank canvas, wet with white paint, pressed it down on the other painting, and then pulled it up, and this is the result. So I'm very happy with this.
It's beautiful.
My goal, I hope it's not fuzzy. What I'm seeing looks fuzzy, but my goal is to get subtle cells and a lot of movement. And so that's kind of why and I like, I don't know, I just like the flow. So that's this one. I call it Light of Joy 2.
I'll say one thing I see there, and I often see this, when your process is an abstract process. You're
Yes.
letting the colors go, you're letting motion take it, you're doing offset printing, maybe pushing together. But in the end, when you do that, you still hit at biomorphic form, because I see what looks like flowers and imagery, and I think you're getting us, we've seen other artists present, and if you work in generic forms make everything. And so you can be working abstract, but then that can read, well, that won't read like buildings, but buildings are not organic. So I think you get at a lot of form that's almost realistic or impressionistic without that being your direction. It sort of comes naturally. And, certainly your choice of color, I'm sure, reflects your color palette, and it's quite beautiful as well.
Thank you. I do like that part of acrylic pour. Now, when I hold it, I think this way, there's a certain way that people are seeing a bird. I actually like this also. And I actually don't like it when people say, oh, I see this. Oh, I see that. Oh, I see a person. Oh, I see an eagle. It's okay. It's kind of personal. And I like what you said about I agree with everything you said, because I think I was going for a flower when I poured the paint, and I'm always surprised at the result. It's never what I think it's going to be with acrylic pour. It's always a surprise. So that's this one. One more. Now this is bigger. This is 16 by 20. This is also acrylic pour.
Very nice.
Cool.
This was my first one that I'd ever done. So I had no idea the possibilities. Like, I just poured it. I didn't move it or blow it or there's so many things that can be done with acrylic pour. With this one, I just let my wrist do everything, kind of like a Jackson Pollock kind of feel. And this is the result. And I call this the symphony.
But did you do this directly? In other words, you didn't do it with the saran wrap first and then
This directly. And I always start with wet canvas. I think most people who do acrylic pour do start with a completely wet surface. I do. And I also mix, well, there's different ways to do it. You can also mix other mediums into the white or black paint that you use as a background. And that affects what happens. Like up here, I got some cells, but you can like really get a lot of cells depending on what mixture you use. So
I think to your point, we can say acrylic pour, that's one expression, but how you do it, how you treat it, it opens up a whole bag. And that work is certainly very different from the other. The depth and the space play and the sort of cosmological view that presents is very different than the other imagery, which seems to go nature floral and have a has something that's tighter and not necessarily a better or worse way.
Mhm.
And I will say, to your point, Kandinsky didn't like it when people looked at his work and saw the boat or saw the man.
I don't like that.
Yes, and that it's about you getting the spirit and not sort of identifying and seeing an object and then it becoming an object. A lot of times I evaluate art when I see it, if I can't see it. You know, when you look at something and you can't make it out, to me that's the beginning, not always, but often, of a good work of art. Because art is a language, and that person is integrating a language that I can't read so quickly. And to me, that's a thumbs up. And then as it resolves or stays ambiguous, I think that makes me see a little differently. And I think your work, I'm sure everybody can see a lot of different things. And you'll probably look at those works over years and they'll give you something different.
Jean, why did you title it Symphony?
I think because I see every piece of it speaks to the other pieces in the painting.
Okay.
They all seem to relate to one another for me, the way a symphony does. Like in a symphony, you can't just have, I mean, you can have solo pieces in a symphony, but the whole symphony is a compilation of all the instruments working together in unison. And that's kind of what I see with this.
Very interesting, because I don't look at, meaning I like mentioned Jackson Pollock, same thing, that I'm not an artist, but I appreciate that type of art very much. And I looked at that, and actually, this is the truth, not knowing the title, I looked at the top and I said, oh, that looks like a cello on top.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This piece, which part?
Right, that big, it looks like a whole cello, and the top, right?
Oh, the purple?
Yeah, so the black is like the top of it.
Yep. The black at the top corner.
This here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
The arm of the cello. Wow.
exactly. It's fun. And you didn't even say what the title was. And like I say, I don't look for meaning in these types of works, but that struck me right away. So
Thank
bravo.
you. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. It's amazing how everyone interprets the same thing so differently. Even with the representational piece, I think.
Mhm.
It was a classic example at Black Mountain College where Jasper Johns and a lot of the greats taught. John Cage, Rauschenberg was there. They did a performance. The three actors on stage were told to do anything they want randomly. They went ahead and they did their performance randomly on stage. The interesting thing is when they asked the audience, what did they see? Everybody saw a different story unfold with meaning, deep meaning, storyline, expression, relationships. And the viewer was certainly the one that sort of pieced together the meaning. To your point, in an abstract work, that could happen as well. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Jean. Any thoughts for Jean? Or should we just clap?
Well, very often it's the artist who gets to finish the piece, right? When you come to the piece and look at it, each person who's interpreting it, that's the completion of the piece. That's
True.
the-
Because art is communication.
that's right.
Very much a John Dewey thought. Art as Experience is a great book to read. And often in the cycle of art, there's the creation, there's the viewer, and then there's the collector who then feeds the artist more money. It is a circle, loop, or better yet, maybe a spiral that doesn't end, but sort of keeps generating somewhere new. So, very nice thoughts.
Thank you for your feedback.
I have a question. I didn't tune in early enough maybe, but what is acrylic pour? How is it different from regular acrylic paint? And how do you apply it? Do you just drip it from the container? I mean, I missed the process.
It's okay. I didn't really go into the process that much. I don't want to like take all the time, but I'll quickly say that acrylic pour is it's a technique where no brushes are ever used. It's always done on canvas, stretched canvas, and it's basically acrylic paint, which is thinned out. It's thinned down with some water, and some people use Elmer's glue or Floetrol, but some people just use water and a lot of white in the painting to create cells, which is something that is positive, is what you want. And
What do you mean by cells exactly? Localized areas?
No, those little bubbles, those little dots, they're called cells. And some people like really strive to get a lot of that by putting silicone or rosin or some other thing in there. So there's many, many, many different ways that acrylic pour can be done. And if you go like on YouTube, there's like thousands and thousands of different artists doing this. It might be kind of trending now. I'm not even sure. It's new to me.
How do you apply it?
You pour it
From?
from a container, a small cup of paint that's thinned down. It's acrylic paint.
Okay.
And it's liquidy.
Mhm.
Liquidy. And I actually use a hair dryer. I blow it around with my mouth. I pick it up and I tip it. Recently, I did a commission piece that was 5 feet by 5 feet, acrylic pour. And it was like really something because I had to have an assistant help me maneuver this gigantic canvas with all of this paint, wet, movable paint, because it's not, you're never brushing it on. You're always working on a flat surface. So there's a lot of conditions that have to be just so with this. And you have to be ready to play and experiment and fail and succeed or not, or, you know, move, never do it again or try new things.
Sounds like what artists like to do, play, experiment. Certainly if you heard try new things. I want to move on to Michael Krasowitz. Michael, would you like to present today?
Sure, I was going to raise my hand because I did something similar today, which I thought would be interesting to talk about. So my work is, I guess, abstract, but it's sort of figurative. And one of my, somebody's trying to get on. Somebody's trying to get on the meeting, I think, and I'm trying to figure out how to send her the link. So I put my stuff out and I don't do any titles. I just put the work out, right? But one of my friends keeps coming up with these amazing titles and historical references that I'd never heard of, really obscure things. And every time he says something, I have to go on Google and try to figure out what he's talking about, right? And it's really interesting because he's spot on. It's like he looks at it and he sees exactly kind of how I would interpret it in a way. So the other day I based a painting on Cézanne. I was trying to do a still life. And when he responded, he didn't write Cézanne, he wrote Aunt Juan or something like that because she typed it wrong. So I'm thinking, who is Aunt Juan? So I'm on Google trying to figure out who Aunt Juan is. And he was trying to write Cézanne, but I didn't know that, you know. So that was pretty cool. So
I like the title Aunt Juan.
I think I should title it Aunt Juan for good.
Put it on TikTok.
So I did that today. I made a painting and I intentionally asked people to interpret the painting. And I can show you this if you guys want. I can show you what came out. So this is the painting I posted. And, you know, usually I'll get likes maybe or something like that. But so I said, can somebody come up with a title or what do you see? And this was the piece. And it's really interesting. I got responses from a lot of interesting people. One person said Catalonia, which is part of where Barcelona is in Spain. One person said Roman Empire. Once the person said large animals. I didn't see this one before. And a fist of flowers. A family. One person said Anubis's farm, which I thought was pretty cool. So I had to go Google Anubis because I'd forgotten. And, you know, I talked to my wife about it, you know, because I understand your argument about not necessarily having any kind of literal definition. But I think what my observation is that the people that are looking at are bringing their experience to an abstract piece and they're finding meaning within those abstract forms, which I think it's fascinating. I'm actually totally 100% for this idea that people are getting something out of it, and it's telling me a lot about where they're coming from in terms of how they're perceiving the work. There's one guy.
What were you thinking of when you made?
I don't. I intentionally don't think. That's part of my process. Part of my thing is that, you know, it's stream of consciousness, and I want to be a tabula rasa. And so when I'm creating it, I actually want to, you know, for lack of a better word, I want to be like egoless and create something that can be experienced by people within their own contextual framework. So I don't want to be, I don't want to be like somebody that's telling people what it means. I want them to be able to find their own meaning. So my ultimate goal as an artist is to create something that is open enough so that people can find their own voice within the image. Yesterday I was in East Hampton. I went to Pace Gallery, and there's an exhibition of abstract art, and there's a very interesting description of what the artist intended. And I got about a third of the way through, and I said, I'm going to go look at the work, you know, because whatever he was saying, I always think you're kind of fooling your mind anyway. You're fooling your mind into thinking that's what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing. In a way, it's a direction, and then the work goes where it's going to go. So I looked at the work and I just experienced it because I think that it's okay to have an intention, but the intention is only one part of the creative process. Then you let it go, and then it goes where it's going to go, right? So I thought this was awesome today. I want to do this every time. I want to make it part of the work. I'm trying to figure out how I can have the painting and then a piece of paper next to it, and the people's interpretations now become part of the painting. So that it becomes a fusion.
I like that. And at some of the biennales, the Whitney or some past ones, they had some sort of interactive experience like that. I would say definitely develop that. That's a great idea. And as well, I've noticed even when I do my own art and I think I get it and I express it, I've had people walk by and in 3 words, they said it better than I could. So sometimes it's very helpful for an artist to hear what someone else sees. And indeed, what you said about abstract art, the person sort of comes to it and they get from it what they bring. You could say that about anything in life. You know, the life is sort of the tabula rasa, and we bring ourselves and we decide that's a tree and label it as such, as opposed to see it as brown or as nature or as positive space, you know. So I think the perspective that the viewer brings, whether it's to art or to life, is very similar. And
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to get interaction and viewership, because it's a fun, it's a game, but it forces people to consider the art in a personal way, when they know their opinion will be looked at, reviewed with a group of people. And the funny part I want to ask you about is, how does it conclude? Is there ever going to be a title, or will it always be an open question? I mean, you know, does it have to have a title?
I don't know if it ultimately has to have a title. One person, if I could find it, he came up with a title, and I said, "That's it. That's the title," because it just sounded good, you know.
It's like
I was just flattered at the beginning. People were responding.
they provide ideas for you, which is interesting.
I think what's interesting about it is it gets it away from this kind of like didactic activity where the artist is somehow the enlightened person telling the people, you know, this piece of information. Because personally, I'm always fearful of that. Whenever somebody's telling me this is what it is, or what this is their intention, and they do this and stuff like that, I'm always like, you know, so why make art? You know, because the art is then you're just kind of regurgitating what you already know. And for me personally, I just want this art to be something that takes me someplace that opens me up in a way.
You know, in a way, a formal way artists have always done this is they write the word untitled on the artwork. And sometimes I get very frustrated because I feel like I'm not getting from, you know, there's something to work with when you're looking at it. So anyway, you know, everybody has their own way of seeing something. But untitled has been the way people have like wondered, what is it? And they come up with what they think. So it's just one way to go.
Well, I have one more thing, but it's going to take 6 minutes. Maybe I should do it next week.
oh, go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Okay, it might take me a second to find this.
I like your shirt, Michael. I know that's one of yours, yes?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Nice T-shirt.
Really nice.
So I won't show the whole thing because it'll make you crazy. But there's a woman that's doing this thing called Artist of the Day. I don't know. Somebody might know about this, but she's I think she's a graduate student, and she's doing a project where you have 10 minutes to show your work, and then 5 minutes to answer questions. And she's been doing it through July, August, and September. Elaine, you know about it, right?
Yeah, I do. Fran did it.
Yeah. It's a really nice opportunity to kind of present your work.
Mm-hmm.
She's very nice. She just gives you, she's gracious, and she gives you 10 minutes. So that morning I was going to do a video. It's just show images on the computer. And I got this idea that Wendy and I would do a performance piece, a dance piece. And we did a piece that's based on The Lovers by Magritte.
Oh, I saw that.
So you guys want to see a couple minutes of it?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. I missed it.
Let me see if I can find it.
Michael, you've got a room full of fans here.
Well, my wife is amazing. So even if it's a little slow, it's pretty interesting to see if I can. Okay. I'll share the screen again. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me. If it's, I said I can show the whole thing, or I can.
The whole thing is fine. We're in the non-rush mode. We're taking a break from capitalism.
Okay, so it's based on on The Lovers, which is that painting where the two people are kissing and they're covered with the fabric.
This was masks before their time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we got. We started with masks, and it kind of went from there. So I tried a few of these things before where we're doing like live painting events, and so.
Oh, there is. Okay.
But it's almost as if the traditional model that, would sit there and the artist would look at has, been more of a spirit of a model, more of a muse that you've created. And
Do you want me to bring it to the end just so, because it's for time? Or should I leave it?
Leave it.
leave it, leave it. Yes, thank you.
I was thinking the same thing, Barry, what you said.
Starting to think alike. We may have different approaches, but I see heads nod here. We speak a similar language. There's no question about it.
Hi, Pat. How you doing? Sorry, I'm still on the line there. They started late. I'll call you back as soon as they finish.
I almost like that she came to the foreground and sort of blocks what you're doing too. It sort of puts the inspiration first.
And that's the end.
Beautiful.
Really wonderful.
It was interesting. I think a lot about this thing, but try not to overthink it. But it was an interesting. I'm really interested in synchronicity, and all this stuff just happens spontaneously. We've done this.
Your wife is a beautiful dancer.
She is. I wish she was here. She would be very happy to know they were showing it. But, thank you, guys. So.
Thank you. Let's see. Regina, would you like to share? No? Okay. Robin? We'll unmute you. Yep.
Yeah. I would like to. I'm a bit afraid that my computer is acting up. I mean, I could try. I have some images on my desktop, a couple images to show, but my computer is really funky and I'm not sure what's good. That's why it took me so long to get here. I was trying to get on since 6 o'clock.
Was there traffic?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I think it's just my computer's problem. So I could try to screen share and see what happens.
Yeah.
You want me to start?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see what happens when I screen share.
Aw.
Oh, you see something?
The little puppy.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Adorable.
I have a bunch of images here, but I'll just show a few because I can show them at different times. But these are just pastels that I worked on. Let me see if it's going to open up. That's the problem. I have that.
Take your time. They'll open up. Just your screen. We have time. This is the anti-rush league.
That spinning beach ball icon, I wish I could blow it up. I don't think it's gonna.
You can try pressing the space bar as well.
Space bar?
If you click on the image and then press the space bar, sometimes that works.
Okay, I just did that, but then I get this ball again. Right.
Oh.
Open some of the JPEGs on your screen as well. There you go.
All right, it's kind of small. Anyway, this is a, okay. This is a pastel. It's on paper. Let me try to get the others.
Just keep in mind, if you have audio in the background and your speakers on, we're probably able to hear it. So, you know, you can always mute yourself if you like, anybody. But go ahead, Robin. It looks interesting.
So here's another one. This is a pastel on paper from, it's from a figure. At least that's obvious to me. I don't know if it's obvious to anyone else, but I sort of collaged it. It's a few pieces of paper that I adhered to the base. So you can see here, different pieces.
What size are they?
This one is about maybe 8 by 10.
Small.
And the other one's about maybe 16 by 20. This one is just not from anything in particular. It's just.
You know, I see a mix of Diebenkorn and de Kooning in your work.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love de Kooning. This one was unusual. This was very different for me. It was more sort of it has an architectural feel to me.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's see, the last one that I'll show today, this was also from nothing in particular, just abstract piece, spontaneous pastel on paper, probably about 8 by 10 as well.
Well, you have a great scale in your work. The form is sort of busting. You know, you see the little areas where your form meet, you jump in and you open it up. Your shapes are active. They're not soft in the space. They're certainly pushing it out. You have a powerful hand, and that face is very much like a de Kooning woman in ways, and obviously it's not. It's yours, but you hit at something very expressive.
Mm-hmm.
What was the inspiration for these pieces? Or was there any?
The one, you know, the one is from the model, and I think the others are just spontaneous work.
It's really nice.
Sometimes I start with something in mind. Sometimes I don't have anything in mind. I just put some color on and just see what happens, take it from there. But I haven't done a lot of pastels, but I think maybe I'll get back to doing some. I did these a while ago. I haven't done any in the last 6 months to last year. But it's an interesting medium. I think this one also has some, yeah, it looks like it's not just pastel, it's also paint. The others are pure pastel. So, okay, so that's it for now.
Thank you, Robin.
At least it worked, that's good.
I wanted to say something. I'm returning to pastels for the first time in, I don't know, years, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm finding the pastels are, you know, they're lovely to work with in the technique of blending, of mark making, of, you know, of how to use it for color and layering it. I mean, it's a big range.
Yeah, yeah. How about, I have also done some oil pastels, which I like as well. I'm trying to figure out what I can work well with on paper. You know, rather than only canvas. So
yeah, I'm trying to I have some safe feeling, you know, doing technique in a safe way, mark making, of hatching, and I'm trying to work with the unsafe ways, which are what happens if, you know, you're not sure what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
nice to see your work because it shows experimenting.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
Lois, would you like to go next? I think a perfect link in. Would you like to share, Lois?
I have some things, but I wanted to ask, I feel like I showed this gallery, you know, I get mixed up on who I show to, in the sense of I've been in 2 or 3 Zoom meetings where people see the work.
I heard Van Gogh showed A Starry Night over and over again in different museums. People like it. So repetition works for me. And there are new people, so feel free to share what you like.
All right, I'll show some parts of the website. All right, also I'll take the screen and I'll work on that. All right. Let's see. Okay, let me. Oh, so this is the big gallery. You know, I have Squarespace. I don't know how many of you are using Squarespace, but I find it's easy to use. I don't know it well enough, but I decided to make the show a big virtual show on the website, and calling it Summer Ponds, timed for the. And I experimented with it. I also added small works to it, since I may have last shown it. This is the living room wall that many of you see when I Zoom with everybody. So it's sort of like the only room shot. And I decided to not go with the very contemporary trend of rooms. I just wasn't sure people would know how to manipulate the actual viewing rooms. Although by now, any professional who you know needs to do it is learning how to do it. So I wanted to create an atmosphere of entering the pond, of around the pond. Of course, Monet was very much the first one. We want to recognize that, but you know, this is my version of the ponds, the way I see it. I worked in pastel here, and I, you know, got comfortable with the hatching style. I also do printmaking, so these are simulating photograms, although they're all stencil prints in cyan color. I came up with 12, and somebody wanted to buy the small ones, and I wanted to sell it as a group. And then I realized once they said they wanted a few small ones, that I needed to have a small works section on the website, which I then added. This is a large pastel with the hatching mark making. I'm really working from photographs from my visits to ponds. I've really gone to Boyd Hill the most, then New York Botanical. I really love those ponds. So I want to give the feeling of relaxation and entering this world. And I thought that the website gallery would be a place of the sequence of going from one medium to the other, and the different moods created. And when I worked with monotype, monoprints in oil base, you know, I had work that's older, And one of the issues was combining the older work and the newer work. But anyway, I wanted to just get the work out there. This is watercolor, and a large one, it's 26 by 40. Those you have to be so patient with big work because it just takes so much time to revisit it and go over the color, or look at it and think about it between working on it. This is very small, it's 9 by 12 inches, and it's based on a photograph that I took of the pond. There's wonderful lighting at the pond with great clouds, and I put it in Instagram, that image.
I think part of the success in your work is your ability to make great marks and leave the negative space to tell the rest of the story. Creates a flow, a movement. When I paint, I can do great marks, but then I layer them and I lose something when they squash together. And you don't retain all your edges of your marks, but they retain their energy, and the negative space has a different shape. And obviously it's the negative, so it's related. So you've got a great dynamic going, and it's not easy to do that. I think artists' tendencies are to overpaint a work or overdraw it, and you're able not to.
Well, I think, I like to stay in a sketch mindset, and I like the glance, the idea of the glance, because like the first impression I think of when I look is kind of something I've seen. I try to keep that. So I want to keep it so much I hope to go slowly, but plenty of stuff has been overworked, and I'm not showing it, let's put it that way. But and also if you do things a few times, you get the hang of what to avoid. So there's that learning curve of repetition. But I do things a few times, but there's that freshness of the first time. So I try to go a little slow. But other methods are, very much, you have to work in detail and very, very thoroughly. This is printmaking with the Bocacci roll in the back. I worked with Kathy Caraccio at this point. She's a great master printer. And you see this subtle blue-purple here going to the purple, the deeper purple back here. And it's a big roll, like it's a 24-inch rolling pin, so to speak, that you roll up with the gradation, and you roll horizontally. So it takes skill to be a master printer and work that way. And we're missing the print shop. Everybody I know does printmaking is missing if they're not in a print shop now. It's a few of them are opening. But anyway, between printmaking, watercolor, and pastel, I've been able to mix them, or I'm comfortable. I like to work in them. And this project on my website has made me want to work more in different ways with the subject, and then I want to do other subjects. I want to get out of the pond. I'm in the weeds, as they say. This is a trace monotype where I get to use the line, and then I also work with stencil and then the quality of washes. And I also like spraying with dye. I used to do large scarves with textiles and did silk painting. And I really like spraying with the dye, which I'm doing on paper now. But
I'd recommend, if you want to get out of the pond, the natural step for you is to go to the clouds. Having seen this image that you have up there, and water, sky, sometimes when I paint them, one looks quite like the other.
Yeah, well, the reflective quality. I've been reading a philosopher, he's so hard to read, but Bachelard is a French philosopher, and he thinks that the pond is like a giant eye that reflects the sky, and it's very poetic. He's into poetry. Anyway, he's a great French philosopher, a contemporary in the 20th century. But he's
what was his name again?
Bachelard, Bachelard. And he's into the poetic image and the power of an image. He worked until he died in like the 1960s. And he was head of the French philosophy department at the Sorbonne. I fell in upon him because I was interested in poetry and water. And he works with the 4 elements, and he's done books on a wide range of thinking about nature, the elements, and the human relationship, poetry, etc. I can write his name in the chat. So at any rate, these different techniques are all based on nature and layering. And I kind of felt good about composing the whole show and getting, to see a continuity of the work. And I'll just kind of quickly finish. I have a few works in photography at the end, because photography seems to be a base for everybody, I mean, I don't want to say for everybody, but photography is so widely understood that as an artist, you're always into taking photographs and you use photography in your work. And so this is in this particular case, this is stencil monoprints. This is a dry point. This is watercolor and monoprint. So it's a combination of using the techniques together. This is a straight watercolor on 2 large papers horizontally. This is stencils. And almost done. There you go. This is a combination of watercolor and photography on the right.
I often don't say this, but I would think with your work, I'd want to see larger scale. I'd almost want the work to envelop me the way a pond does, so that it takes over. What scale are we looking at? 2 feet, most of this?
Yeah, 3 feet, 4 feet max. I have bigger work, but I can't work so big because I work in a home studio apartment, and I'd have to take over the living room and work 5 feet and up. But I agree. The work wants to be large. Yeah. And the next step is if hotels or hospitals wanted large works, I'd have to really do commission work and work, get a studio that would be able to allow me to work big. But I know I agree with you that I would like to work big. Maybe next stage.
I want to point out an interesting fact, because your similarity to Monet, and you have to think of the water lilies at the Museum of Modern Art. Recently, I came across the fact, I went there maybe a few years ago. I looked at it. I wasn't that moved by it. I thought maybe my aesthetic had moved on. But then recently I found out those are not the water lilies by Monet. Oh. They were destroyed, and those are recreations. And I never saw any signs about that. And I don't know the year they were destroyed, but I'm talking about the big room that has those, like, one monster painting.
All the way around.
The big one, yes. And I don't think anybody knows that.
Wow. Someone recreated those or reproduced those? That would be unbelievable.
Yes, they did. They did. There was either a fire or some damage. I mean, obviously, I should Google it and get it, but sometimes you hear things that are so bizarre you don't want to believe them. But this was like, from a museum source.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's it. I did put small works up. That's another day. You're welcome to look it up. It's under my name, loisbender.com. But, I love this topic, so it's fun to work with.
Very nice.
Well, thank you.
Lois, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How did this come about with Wave Hill?
Well, I just visited there like 12 years ago and was enamored by the site. It's a small pond, but they have great plantings, and they have a great sunset backdrop because they would have sunset Wednesdays where you could stay till 8 p.m. So I got the lighting at the dusk, which I really like. It's gorgeous having that high contrast of sunset and the purple quality of lighting. I mean, I think midday can be a little bit like the same old with just green upon green upon green. But it's the beauty of lighting there, and any pond that has got great lighting, or any scene. Obviously, we're painting light, so I think that's what attracted to me. New York Botanical is also nice. So anyway, I got to get out there more. But
It's a
Well, nice
great
to hear
place.
you're using Squarespace. We use that for our website, atoanyc.org. And I was able to do that without really any skills. I think all you artists today, technology is caught up. So it's really just a bunch of clicking, and all of a sudden you can have a very professional website with lots of features and customize it very easily. So nice job, Lois. Very nice.
thank you. You write that down?
That's
Barry?
Yes, Mitch.
I see Lori Horowitz is on tonight, and I saw she was on last week also. Lori, would you like to show anything? I think you're on mute.
Sure, and I was actually going to go to her next, so that's perfect.
Great.
Welcome, Lori.
Hi, nice to meet everybody and see everyone I already know. I wasn't really prepared and came in a bit late on this today, but I can bring you to my website and show you some still images. So let's try and do that. So I'm gonna share screen and let's see. Okay. Let's see if I can. Okay, so where am I? Give me another second. See if I can find what I want to do. Okay. Are we still in share screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on my website now. And I'll go back a little bit. And most of my work in the past has been these three-dimensional character portraits. And I do these paper mache and encaustic sculptures of the unseen in society. I get to know some of them. Some of them are just random people I meet. And I use a variety of different media. So this top piece is paper mache.
I see a black screen. Is there anyone?
Yeah.
Same here. Screen isn't showing up. It's cycling.
Screen's not showing up?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
You know what it is? I think we're seeing your camera.
Seeing my camera. What do I do about that if I'm on the website?
Started screen.
Your screen is paused. Stop share. Resume share. Can we see that?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, good. Now I'm going to go back to where I was. Sorry.
No, that's all good.
Okay.
Photoshop top bar.
Okay, so these are sort of my previous works, these character portraits.
I see labels with no images.
No images. Okay, that's not good either.
Seeing a Photoshop menu.
Yeah, Photoshop top bar.
Right.
What am I hitting?
Yeah, maneuver through to your website because we're getting your Photoshop.
You're seeing Photoshop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, file edit, image layer, type, select. I'm seeing the bar for Photoshop.
Maybe
close Photoshop.
Okay.
Or minimize.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to minimize. I'm going to close Photoshop.
We've got nowhere to go to 2022.
Sorry. Just wasn't prepared.
God forbid.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
And of course, this doesn't want to close. And you can't get into this? You're not seeing this?
No.
Okay.
Just talk about your work a little, and then for next week we'll go to images.
Hold on, let's try something else since Photoshop seems to be working.
Can you maneuver behind the Photoshop screen?
Let's see.
In other words, if you've got layers of screens up of.
Photoshop seems to be closed. Okay. And you're still seeing Photoshop?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, how about you go to somebody else and come back to me? How's that?
Okay.
if I can get it sorted out in the meantime.
That's fine, Lori.
Okay.
Excellent. Susan, would you like to share? Susan Tiffin?
Well, actually, I shared a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know that I have anything new. So if someone else, has something to share, I guess let them.
Okay. All right. Well, we could ask someone else. How about Sandra? Sandra, would you like to share some of your work? And where are you from, Sandra?
I'm from the West Village, thank you. And Michael, nice to see you. My other group is not meeting tonight, where they met for a short time so I could get on, hop on. It looks great. But I'm totally unprepared. I didn't know the format. And I don't know technically how to get my stuff on. The only thing, I have a website, it's not up to date, but it has a lot of images, but I don't even know how to do that.
One way to do it is use the screen share option, and then just whatever is on your screen, your computer, you can go ahead and we'll see. Or we could wait till next week if that's totally cool.
All right, but tell me, I'm seeing you, but I don't, oh, I see. I'll have to find out how to do that.
Michael, it's Susan Tiffin. Since there's a lot of new people, I would share what I don't know if I've shared before, if you'd like me to.
Okay,
but
Susan.
try other people first.
No, we'll go to you, Susan. We'll go to you. Go ahead.
I'm back on again. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yes. You want to try it?
Okay, I think I can try it again. I just have to go into screen share now. If I can figure that out.
Don't worry, you're all doing much better.
Okay, screen share. Okay, here it is. I found it. Let's see if it opens.
And then maneuver to whatever you want to show.
There we go. Go into. Oh. Where is my website? Oh, I thought I had it. Here. Can you see that?
You're not sharing.
It's not there?
You're not sharing.
Not in screen share.
Weak internet.
Okay, here we go. Let's try this. Share. All right.
Yay.
Are we in? Okay.
Yes.
So sorry for the challenges. So, okay. I started out talking about my older work, which was these three-dimensional relief sculptures that are done in either paper mache or encaustic wax, about different people I meet, characters, and basically work on them in a variety of different materials. This piece here is sculpted in copper screen, and then light is passed through it, and these are shadows that are created from the piece, depicting the three-dimensional piece that works together with it. I deal a lot with shadow, sort of holographic kind of effects, and lighting is very important in my work. Let's see. And these are more, I don't know. Are you seeing the pictures of 4 people here that
yes.
I want to? Okay, that's what I wanted to get rid of. Okay, so that's a little bit better, I guess. And these are all life-size sculptures.
Are you familiar with John Ahern's work?
I am.
Yeah, I certainly see he works in a similar three-dimensional relief that you do, working with people that he encounters in his usually.
But he did body casts of people mainly. I actually know him. And he worked off of body casts of people, and you know, slightly different type of you know, idea behind it. It's really getting to know these people and the materiality of the pieces are as important as the people that I meet and their stories that they have to tell.
Do they sit for you, Lori?
No. So I get like a momentary photo of them and then basically have to finish it from this one flat view. Some of them share their stories, like the one undercover here. He's the voice of Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles, and I met him in California and spoke to him for about 2 hours, became friends with him, and did this piece based on him. And then now my work has changed quite a bit. I'm going to show you more recent work, if I can get up to the top.
What are the reliefs done on top of, what are they on, board, or what are they on?
They're on wood.
Wood.
You know what, let me show you.
You know, the shrouded pieces are like a direct correlation to the performance that Michael just did earlier. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
I did see his performance piece earlier, yes. Okay, so these pieces, I went from the paper mache into the wax, and the idea of being translucent and being able to look within the characters was really important.
Wow.
So, and they're all, again, life-size characters. And based on, this one here is based on a photo that I had taken in Coney Island. And this is, again, life-size. And here's another one on the right that is about a Cuban woman. I did a residency in Cuba, and this was one of the people I met, a street vendor who makes the same art. And then the work really evolved from that. And again, there's a lot of sewing and because there's a lot of foreshortening and suggestion of shape rather than actually being able to touch and create something in the round. So these new pieces are based on these root structures that I've been working on, and these are positions that have to suffering and despair in the world, and that's being translated in my work. So these are 3/4 life size. They're done in chicken wire, spun copper, and copper wire, and they're very labor intensive. And then the gauze material is draped over these pieces, and really it becomes almost like a skin. And the copper is like muscle material.
You definitely got a very different sense in this series as compared to the last one that you've shown. There's a different aura, mood to these figures.
The other ones are more playful. The other ones are more caricature-like. And these are much more suggestive. I mean, they are detailed and they are accurate, but they just showing mood and emotion.
Wonderful work, wonderful work.
Thank you. This one was the hardest of all because it's very dependent. Now these pieces weigh probably less than 3 pounds. They're very, very light.
Wow.
And getting them to balance and to stand and hold each other is as challenging as any other part of this. But each piece has to be sewn together. There's, hundreds of hours of sewing in this. So a little crazy, but I'm happy with how they turn out.
you know, in the COVID era that we're living in, they seem to really symbolize what we're going through, you know, this hidden in the face of everything, hidden away from each other. They're very emotional, at least.
Yeah. So, and then these pieces come out of this root series that I'm working on. And they're very difficult to see this way. You have to see them as a video, but they're three-dimensional. They're about 54 tall, 36 wide by about 9 inches deep. And they're made of copper, burlap, and caustic wax, wood, brass, and just a whole slew of materials, but mainly painted in encaustic wax. And they, I can show you what they start as. One more thing. These. They start as these photos that I take, and then I draw into them with colored pencils. And basically, there's a kind of anthropomorphism that goes on where people come out of nature, and either clusters of people, situation, and again, it's called Exodus, and it has to do with, you know, finding place and finding place in this world.
Lori, they look great on Instagram when you post them. They have a real startling quality to them.
There's a lot of work here. I'm just sort of cranking out one a day or one every other day. And I guess it's sort of keeping my sanity while all this is going on.
Lori?
Yes.
Could you, I'm just trying to get a sense of the photo and colored pencil on paper. So
Yes.
you start with a photo and of where's the photo and where's the colored pencil?
Well, let's see. I don't even know if I can I zoom in? Here we go. So let's say I move over to this one here, which you see. So this is actually a root structure. It's called a cypress knee. And they are about 4 to 6 inches tall.
That's it.
And I take photos of them, you know, in nature as they look, and then basically print them, and then I draw into them. And the colored pencil I have like 200 different colors of colored pencils, so the colors match exactly. And I draw into them and basically bring out figures or things I see in them. It's kind of like seeing Jesus in a piece of toast, that type of thing.
Are you using photo paper or some other type of paper?
It's like a thick drawing paper.
Oh.
And it takes the pencils, I use Prismacolor pencils, and it takes pencils beautifully.
Yeah.
And you can really manipulate it. And as I do them, they get much better. So these are early ones. The ones I'm doing now, I think are quite a bit better, much stronger. And as I'm doing them, something about having the light from the photos and the shading of the photos, that is guiding me into really understanding how forms accept light. And the more I study it, the better I understand sort of how to make things three-dimensional. It's helping my painting. It's really been an amazing exercise. So I think my work is getting technically, I understand it much better.
Do you also come from a photography background, or?
Yeah, I studied photography and painting. That's what I studied, photography and painting, but I am essentially a sculptor.
Okay, wonderful work, really great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lori, did you find these at Bayard? Because I remember seeing.
Can you say that again? Say that again?
Were these photos taken at Bayard Arboretum? Because I saw stumps like it's the only place I've ever seen them.
Yes, that's where they're taken.
Yeah, it's amazing what you've done with it. I mean, one of the reasons I love coming to this Zoom is because I'm used to all the photographers, and this is such a, what's invigorating, I guess is the word. I don't even know, energizing, seeing all this work that everyone's done. You know, it's wonderful.
Great. Okay.
You know,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to get out of mine. I can stop screen sharing, okay?
Yeah.
Do you see
Okay.
the two-dimensional drawings in partnership with your sculpture together? Wouldn't they support each other in a show? Or
I've done probably about, I'd say now about 40 of the drawings, about 4 of the paintings, and about 5 of the small sculptures. There's quite a bit of work. In the last 6 months, I've cranked out quite a bit of work, and it's all to be seen together as a show, if I can get that to happen one day.
when you can get that to happen.
It will happen. It will happen.
How you phrase it. Lori, I think you hit on something that I've noticed. One sec, Mitch. That I've noticed that artists have missed. There is a whole field of drawing on photographs. Very few artists go into it. It is such an open field. You get ultimate realism, and then you work over it. Lori, the way you sort of add it in, it almost tricks it. So we don't even know, is this a photo or is this a drawing? I think you're in a great field. You did have a variety of work you showed. The last works were certainly very moving, very powerful. Sort of losing the color, I think, helped you to sort of focus the dialogue a little. But very nice, and I think it's a theme we've heard often, keeping sanity through creating. It's something that's come up. Mitch, you had a thought?
Oh, I just want to mention to Lori, back on Blackout Tuesday, June, I wanted to put together, and I did it for about a month, as far as supporting Black lives and supporting Black artists. And the first thing I did was a slideshow video of images of colored people. And I included your living doll, because I thought it really hit home as far as a father and a child, and in the community. So I was happy to include that, and a great work as always, Lori. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone. We're sort of at our time limit. I realize I didn't get to ask Michael Skelly if you wanted to share. I'm sorry, Michael. Would you like to share quickly?
No, that's okay. I've had a good time tonight. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to thank you all. You guys make this what Artist Talk on Art is about. We do this every Monday. We use the same link for each month. So the link will be fine for August. In September, we'll have a new one. You can just about see everything on our website, atoanyc.org. I think we come together as a community here. We're all different. We're all sort of searching for our way, but maybe we find our way and we hear what others do, and it gives us ideas. I don't mind overusing the term. I think we're a hive collective. We just don't see the honeycombs. And sometimes maybe in a grid like this, you're starting to see the honeycomb a little bit. And we certainly share and grow from each other. And maybe we even see our work better when we have to present it. We have to go verbal. We hear other people speak. So I think this is a great process. And I just want to thank you all for being a part of it. This is Artist Talk on Art, the ATOA, a 501c3. I want to acknowledge a few board members. I see Jacqueline Rada here, Mitch Pilnick. I've acknowledged Sophia. These are all people that work behind the scenes to make everything go smoothly and sort of bring us together as a group. Thank you, everybody. We'll pick it up again next Monday And spread the word. Tell your friends. If you'd like to donate, you can visit our website. But keep donating your time and your effort and sharing your work. That's really the gold in this world that we like to mine here at the ATOA. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.